everybody. Happy Tuesday. I hope you're having a great day. We had expected them to release the DC fandom schedule today, but I guess they realized that it was not appropriate to do so after everybody was fired on Monday evening. In fact, some Netflix trailers I thought were going to come out today as well, so I was a little surprised at how quiet things were again today. Although yesterday was a bit of a bummer. My video breaking down the latest layoffs at Warner Brothers and DC is currently up. But anyway, we have a great stream prepared today. I saw two people one person joined before the stream started, so let me give a shout out. If you joined during a stream, I give you a shout out on air. I think Trevor Bump joined a little bit earlier. And then I just saw, we just had one new member, Joseph M. Pierce. Thank you so much for joining. So the way this works, as always, is that we'll do a little bit of an intro, give people time to join in. I give a couple shout outs. Then we do the 3 stories of the day. And then, as always, you can ask me anything you'd like in the final 10 minutes of the stream. So, just to kick us off, where's everybody watching from and what are you up to? Having a snack, doing anything interesting? Just so I can give you a couple of you a shout out. Sean, you didn't miss it. We've just started. Ari, I'm so glad you enjoyed my video. Jason is in San Francisco enjoying a burrito. That sounds delicious. Sander got a little sunstroke on the beach in Holland. Oh, that sounds amazing. But I'm glad you're okay. The Holland part, not the sunstroke. Hugo is in Dublin, excited about Mulan. Jacob says finally catching a stream from Australia, having a brekkie. I don't know what a brekkie is. I don't know your Australian lingo. Stefano is in sunny New Jersey customizing dolls. That sounds very interesting. Summer is studying for a test in Canada. Let's see here. Madeline is cuddling the fur kids, her cat and dog in Ohio. Harris is playing Mortal Kombat 11 in Arkansas. Love it. That's a nice little change from... usually I don't see people playing video games during the stream. I love it. Lloyd is having some breakfast. Jacob's also having breakfast. Obviously, we have people tuning in from around the world. Or you're just getting up late. I love it. Oh, you guys are saying brekkie is breakfast. That's hilarious. That's right. Australia is very far ahead. That's very funny. Rashad is in apartment hunting with his boyfriend on his day off in Los Angeles. Oh, that's awesome. Good luck. I hope you find a cool new place. Logan is sitting with his Shiba Inu and Basset Hound in Dallas. Alien is relaxing in a very hot Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi is awesome. Let's see here. Richard is in Lebanon enjoying homemade chips. I hope you weren't too close to what happened in Beirut and you're safe. What's going on with your government, though, is crazy. Although, so is with my government. So it's really crazy out there. Let's see here. CJ did go to Midtown Comics. Oh, I saw your comment on the video. That's great. Which Midtown Comics did you go to? East Side or West Side? Luke is eating some pizza in upstate New York, about to sign up for school. Be safe. Let's see here. Daniel's relaxing in with my boxer here in Texas. Let's see here. Czech Film Fantastic is in Ireland. Lewis is enjoying a delicious homemade pizza in Los Angeles. And it looks like there are a lot of people from Holland here. West Side, CJ, the Times Square one. That's the one I used to go to, too. Good choice. All right, that's very sweet of you to say, Summer. Thank you. I like your heart emoji there. All right, so we're going to get to the 3 stories of the day. And then, of course, you can ask me anything you would like for the final 10 minutes of the stream. All right, so... story number 1. Hold on. I was very happy to see this story. It actually broke yesterday, and I didn't have room for it in yesterday's stream, and I was like, oh, it's getting its own story. All right, so story number 1. Boop. All right, so the joke writes itself. Everyone was calling Zac Efron a daddy online after his new Netflix reality show debuted, where he traveled around the world looking at eco-friendly situations. But everyone said he was a real daddy. And there were, as I said on Movie Math, there were no lies detected. And apparently Disney Plus agreed. And they were like, oh boy, let's sign this guy up to do 3 Men and a Baby, because they're doing a remake of that on Disney Plus. Now, I have to say, the original is currently on Disney Plus. And I actually watched it right after I got Disney Plus. I was like, let me check this out. I was looking for things to watch that were a little, I love Disney, but you don't want to watch Disney every single day. So I wanted to get my most out of the service. So I said, okay, I'll watch this movie. And I have to tell you, I was shocked at how well it held up. It was so good. It was so good that I went to watch Three Men and a Little Lady right after, and I have to tell you that was not good. So only watch Three Men and a Baby. Stop there. But hey, Carolina Holst, thanks for joining. That's such an adorable pic. That baby is so cute. So anyway, speaking of having a baby, you've got your own Carolina. But anyway, the Three Men and a Baby movie really holds up. And if you have Disney Plus, you should go check it out. Let's see here. I agree with you. Many of you are saying he's probably playing the Tom Selleck character. I think he probably is. I think just a few months ago before his transformation, he probably would have been Ted Danson's character. We'll go through the characters in a moment. But I think he's totally a Tom Selleck now. And Tom Selleck's really the lead of that film. So anyway, it's very good. It's based on a French comedy. I have to say, though, it's very dated. You'd be shocked when you watch it how dated its view of women is and how the women in the film are treated. It's like there are three ladies' men, but I don't think you could get away with a lot of that stuff today. But anyway, even though it's dated, I still really had a good time watching it. And as I actually saw Patrick Schumacher, who does Harley Quinn, tweet the other day, which I thought was very interesting, Leonard Nimoy directed it. I, too, thought that was shocking when I watched Three Men and a Baby on Disney+. I was like, Leonard Nimoy? But it's hilarious. So Leonard Nimoy is there. Also, it made a building on the west side of Manhattan very famous, on the Upper West Side. It's actually just a few blocks away from the Ghostbusters building, which is really funny. So a very famous apartment building. I wonder if they'll use the same spot. I wonder if they'll transfer it to Los Angeles. We'll see. It's a very adult movie. A baby, there's a misunderstanding that I actually thought made some sense. But basically, drug dealers are involved. It's crazy. All right, so anyway, it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do with it. Tom Selleck was the star. He plays an architect. As you can see, also Ted Danson was in the movie. He played an actor. And then Steve, a real ladies' man. They're all, as I said, all ladies' men. And then Steve Guttenberg plays an artist. And I think that I'll be curious to see how they round out this cast. And Zac Efron is pretty good bait for other people to feel that this is a project they can be involved in and not feel bad about. That's right, Logan. The Mandalorian could be one of the daddies. You could have Baby Yoda be the baby. That's pretty hilarious. It's one man and a baby over on Mandalorian. That's pretty funny. Hopefully they'll do like some kind of joke about that, because that's just too good to pass up. Zac Efron could get parenting tips from Mando. Hey, Sabian Robinson, thanks for joining. So anyway, I think, though, that Zac Efron's probably getting paid a lot of money to make this, because he kind of swore off Disney. He hasn't wanted anything to do really with High School Musical. So for them to get him back to the service and to do a streaming movie, I think is a really, really big deal. Let's see here. Sheldon says, can one of the dads be gay? I think there's probably a very strong chance one of the dads will be gay, especially if you watch the movie. I think it's very easily set up for that. I think it's not a bad. I think they should do that. I think, I like, for instance, in the new Heathers, they made one of the Heathers a gay male teenager. I thought that was really a good twist too. But I think there's some interesting choices here. I think they could do some really cool stuff with it. Also, that would bring in My Two Dads. Well, actually, that wasn't about that should have been about two gay dads as well, but it wasn't. Oh, Hollywood, they get around stuff. You're so silly, Hollywood. But I think this is a really good idea. I think Disney will do it. I mean, Disney had the Out thing on there. Jim Parsons, Lisa, Lisa. That's a great idea. Matt Bomer. I like Matt Bomer too, Sean, but he's a little bit too much like Zac Efron. I think they've already got the pretty. I think now they need to get, although Zac Efron's really funny. I think Jim Parsons is a great idea, Lisa. I like Lisa's idea, although you guys have some really nice casting ideas. And then, of course, you're probably going to want to get, as some of you point, I see Sander keeps pointing out Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan will never do it, but you'll want an actor of color as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be a black actor. You could go with an Asian or a Latino actor, but I think they're going to want to get some diversity in there as well. Daniel Radcliffe's an interesting choice, Spaceman, but I don't know if Disney wants to get into the Daniel Radcliffe business. I think they have other opportunities. Oh, Billy Eichner. Oh, you guys are doing a great job casting this. I would go with Jim Parsons or Billy Eichner. I think those are both great choices. And I think that Anthony Mackie's very funny. I think he's a good choice too. Yahya Abdul-Mateen, I think, is getting too much work. I like Hannibal Buress. You guys are doing a great job casting this. This is fantastic. John Cho just signed up for Netflix to do their new Cowboy Bebop, so I don't really see that happening. I think Billy Porter's, they want some guys who are all basically the same age, so I don't quite see it happening. But I think that these are some really good choices. Darren doesn't like Jim Parsons. Well, then maybe you could get Billy Eichner. He's fantastic. I think he's great. Mina Massoud. Oh, that's a great idea, Sean. Mina Massoud would be great. He's a little similar, but these three guys were supposed to be three ladies' men, so you could throw Mina Massoud in there. I think he's a great choice. These are all very, very choices. Very, 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 very good choices. I love them. Love them. Lil Ray's also very funny. These are all great choices. This, as you can see, this is going to be a good movie. So it's being produced by this producer who does a lot of sports dramas. I don't know why he wants to produce this. I don't know about Kumail Nanjiani, Mika, because, he hasn't been doing very well, unfortunately. He is not connecting with audiences like I would want as a producer. So I want someone a little fresher. I think Kumail Nanjiani's had a lot of chances at this point, so I don't know about that. But yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. So anyway, Gordon Gray, he's currently searching for his director, and I'm sure he'll pick somebody who's comedic. He has to choose someone who's comedic because this is such a comedic property. I think it'll be really good. It can't be too soft. It's got to be a little edgy. If you watch the original movie, it's got a lot of edge. It's got a lot of womanizing. It's got, Ted Danson has a horrible relationship with his mother. It's got a drug dealer. That's one of the reasons so many people like the movie, is that it's not too saccharine. It's not too sugary. So I feel like they really need to keep that edge. And I think they can do just enough to make it work for Disney Plus. It's great. It's a really, really good idea. Andrew, are you saying Andrew Reynolds from, what do you call it? From the Book of Mormon? Maybe. You know who I really think would be great? Daveed Diggs might also be a good choice. I would be interested in him as well. And he's, of course, doing the upcoming Little Mermaid. He's only doing the voice of Sebastian, though, so he's not in a great negotiating position for money. So I kind of like Daveed Diggs. I think he'd be a great choice too. He's really good. I like, I'm kind of a convert after seeing Hamilton, and it's doing very well on the streaming service already. They don't have a director yet, unfortunately, but I'm sure they'll be getting one pretty quickly. Lisa, you and I are on the same wavelength today. I think we have our cast. I like Jim Parsons and Daveed Diggs. We're really working. We're Lisa, we have this sewed up. We did a great job. All right, so that's the first story of the day. Who was interested in watching this? I look forward to a ton of yeses. I also like Dan Levy. Dan Levy's a great choice. Oh, this is so great. Who wants to be in my movie? That's what I would be like. Dan Levy would also be really great. He looks a little like Zac Efron, though. Everybody likes it. Except for Czech Film Fantastic. Although Jeremiah is very discerning and would prefer to see what the RT score is. I don't blame you. Oh, Randall Park is great, Liberty Mommy. I love Randall Park, too. He's so funny. Lauren, I don't know why you hate this so much. Let's see here. I kind of know why you hate it, but come on, it's going to be great. And you just have problems with the original if you don't like this. Let's see here. Joseph says, I'm into this if the rest of the cast is great as Zach. Platinum Diva says, I need to see the rest of the cast. Mike says, Kevin Hart's going to play the baby. Is that you, Dwayne Johnson? That's a real Dwayne Johnson comment. I love it. Very funny. All right, so that is the first story of the day. Let's get to the second story of the day. Boop. So the Fresh Prince reboot is happening. And yes, it is based on that trailer that came out last year that Will Smith championed, and Will Smith is involved. Oh, this is going to be great. I expect this to be sold like tomorrow. I mean, I don't know why it's not sold today, quite frankly. Maybe they're asking for a lot of money. It's a great idea. So I don't know if you saw that. And Fresh Prince, of course, just went to HBO Max. So HBO Max, Peacock, and Netflix are apparently all in the running for this. So if I were HBO Max, I'd be like, I must have it. I spent so much money on Fresh Prince of the original to have on my streaming service. I must have the other one. So Morgan Cooper, of course, as you might recall, did a serious take on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and made a trailer of it last year. Very popular, went viral, again, because Will Smith helped blow it up. Basically, it's like a more serious take on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That was a sitcom. This is making it like an hour drama, which like the OC, like those kind of dramas that were around for a while, or even like the OG, Beverly Hills 90210. I think it's a really good idea. So it's going to have still the coolness and the fun of the first, but it won't be an all-out comedy, and it's going to tackle a lot of the serious issues of today, not only in terms of race, but also economics, because, of course, you have someone going from a poor family to a very wealthy family and what the dynamics are like there. For instance, in the trailer, they had a very interesting conversation between Carlton and Will, like what they could do with their reach. And I thought that was very compelling. So I think this is a fantastic idea, and I think this is also a huge casting opportunity because I can think a lot of young talent of color will obviously want to be involved in this. And they have to decide what they're going to do about diversity. Is it going to lean into being like an all-black show? Will they try and have supporting characters of different color to try and broaden the... Although everybody watched Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when it was on the air, that was a hugely successful show and a very strong mainstream show. It's one of the reasons Will Smith was able to go on to be such a big movie star because he grew himself such a strong fan base with that show. It was a great show. So I think it's a really, really good idea. Yeah, it's like Riverdale, Kyle. I think Riverdale would be today's comparison. It would be like Riverdale-ing Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I think it's a really good idea, especially because Lloyd says, how are they going to deal with having a black butler? I think they could handle it. I think it would be fine. It could be an assistant. I think they have to be really careful how they handle it. I think they want to make sure that everybody can enjoy it just like they did the first one. Although Will Smith is producing this. He's very smart. Will Smith is going to do a nice job. I know some of you don't like Riverdale, but it does well in the ratings, and I think that they're trying to take the brand of Fresh. This is the reboot formula. So you take a popular older show like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and you reboot it. And so everybody who watched the original Fresh Prince of Bel-Air goes and watches the new one out of the curiosity factor. But then, because you retool it to appeal to a new audience that is enjoying what's currently popular on television, they tune in as well. So you get both demographics in there. And that's how you kind of blow up a show. So I think it's a really good idea. I think it's going to work. Although Madeline points out that the charm was the humor. I agree. I think casting all the roles. I mean, that show was amazingly cast. And someone pointed out, R.I.P. to James Avery, who of course played Uncle Phil. But if they can get a great Will, a great Carlton, and a great Uncle Phil, and a great Jazzy Jeff, I think that they'll be on their way. Hillary's also a very cool role. It's great. I mean, they just have to work really, really, really hard. They can't get it wrong. But I think that Will Smith is very good. Jada Smith, the coolest muggle, who recently just joined. I remembered your name. It stuck in my head for some reason. I think that Jada Smith would be great as the aunt. I think she'd be a really good choice. She's really good at chewing scenery. She was so good on Gotham. I think she's a great television actress. She's turned out to be quite good. So who would watch this? Who would watch this? Hey, Josh. Lloyd says, too many landmines. It's going to have a lot of landlines. I'm not going to lie. But I don't think that should stop him. I think it's a good idea. Most of you would watch. I'm not saying I'm going to love it, but I'd definitely try it. I'd definitely try it. And you better believe I'd cover it because it would be a hot product. So I like it for that reason alone. From a business perspective, this is a thing of beauty. I don't think Jaden Smith, Mika, is funny enough to play a young Will Smith on this show, even though he's his actual son. Someone mentioned Winston Duke. Like a younger Winston Duke would be great on this because he's serious, cool, but also very funny. You need all those qualities. Emilio says, no, thank you. Shamar says should be a continuation and not a reboot. I can see that, like then Will Smith could come back as the dad and so could Carlton, like what they're doing with Saved by the Bells on Peacock. But I don't know. I don't know about that. Then it's like divided. Is this a show about the parents? Is it a show about the kids? So I'm not sure how that would work either. So we'll see. We will see. I think it's a really good idea, and I expect it to be sold by the end of the week. It's that good an idea. At the latest, if I were the head of any of these streaming services, I would tell the person who's in charge of buying shows, I'd be like, if we don't get this, you're fired, because it's really, really important to the future of our streaming service. All right, so that's the second story of the day. Let's go to the third story of the day. Boop. All right, so New York Comic Con, the last big event of 2020, has, of course, gone digital. They waited as long as they possibly could, but finally they were like, yeah, it's not going to happen. So it's going digital as well. Nobody's willing to cancel. They're just going digital. But everyone's gone digital, and it's created, I think, an oversaturation in the space. So New York Comic Con, having the benefit of going last, is trying to learn from Comic Con at Home's mistakes. They will also be on YouTube. Fandom, by the way, DC Fandom will be on its own website, not on YouTube. So, oh yeah, you're right. CCXP, Juan, you're right. CCXP. We'll see what CCXP does. That would be interesting. If CCXP was digital, would it be more of a global event and try to appeal to a global audience? That's interesting, Juan. Although Brazil is having such a problem with coronavirus, I doubt they'll be able to go forward at the end of the year. Because I think they usually go in December. So anyway, New York Comic Con, let's see here. So they're going to be on YouTube, but they've said that they're like, hey, we noticed that Comic Con at Home pre-taped a lot of their panels, and DC Fandom has taped a lot of their panels as well. Well, New York Comic Con said, okay, the key to this is obviously live. And I think anybody would know that. Anyone would know that live is the key to these events working. But for some reason, no one has realized it until now, just like Michael just said, agreeing. So New York Comic Con, all their panels they're promising will be live, and you'll be able to type questions in live as they happen, like you're doing right now. You'll be able to do that for New York Comic Con. I also hope they have less panels because San Diego Comic Con at Home, was ridiculous. It was overprogrammed. You couldn't find anything. And of course, their numbers were so low because there was just too many programs. They didn't really advertise any of them. It was just a disaster. And as soon as people started seeing the low numbers come in, the event looked like a failure and they could not recover. So I hope that New York Comic Con not only focuses on live panels, but less panels. They have 3 already. Star Trek again. Here's hoping they don't copyright strike their own panel like they did at Comic-Con at Home. American Gods, and then also Hulu FX will have a panel as well. And hopefully they're going to get some more. Now here's what's also interesting. New York Comic-Con at Home is promising a virtual marketplace. And they're actually doing an event like that right now, which is really interesting to me, where you can do meet and greets. You can do like Zoom calls, meet and greets with talent, and get personalized video from them for a fee. Nobody else has done this, and I think that could be a real moneymaker for New York Comic Con as well. Would anyone here pay for a virtual meet and greet online? You know, just like you have to pay for an autograph when you go to these conventions. Or to get a personal video. That's where an actor will shout out your name. Karen Gillan's doing it right now for this other event that Reed is handling. Thomas would. So would Ingrid. Natalia would. See? Coolest Muggle would. Shield would if they were hot. That's funny. Let's see who the guest list is. Most of you wouldn't, but a couple of you would. Logan would. The Dark Savior says depends. So pretty interesting. I'll be curious to see who they get. Oh, that's very sweet of you, Dallas. All right, so those are the 3 stories of the day. Let me get rid of my notes here. All right, let me get rid of that so we know where we are. It is 5:32. You can ask me anything you'd like until 5:42, and then I must go. All right, so what would you like to ask me today? Just have to wait for you guys to catch up. Hail Hydra says, Grace, have you ever watched Alfred Hitchcock's Lifeboat? I have. Very cheap movie, but very well done. I am a huge Alfred Hitchcock fan. I've seen almost all of his movies. Lloyd says, Grace, what are your thoughts about Mulan approved for theatrical release in China? Well, I'll be curious. We've been covering the numbers coming out of China for the past few weeks, and they are bleak. We'll see how many theaters are open in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Quinn says, why is Empire unreadable to you? I think the story, the focus of it is weak. That's the current Marvel crossover event. I feel like we joined it too late. I think that the scale is off. It did have a pretty big development, though, in the last issue with the Skrulls, which I thought was going to have big ramifications going forward. And only further, hey, think Noodle S. And also, by the way, I think only proves that the Secret Invasion is coming to get that character back on the board. So, I see you, Marvel. I see you. But purely from a storytelling perspective, I think it's not good. Luke says, Grace, do you think Marvel or DC has a brighter movie future? I'll be able to tell that better after DC Fandom. I'm very curious to hear stuff about the Batman. James Gunn has promised a sneak peek at the Suicide Squad. I'm very excited. Sin Lemon says, Grace, did you get a chance to watch The Babysitter's Club on Netflix? I did. I loved it, except for the last 2 episodes when they went to camp and I felt they departed reality. I was like, this would never work in real life. What are you talking about? So I didn't love that so much. Elizabeth Daniels is very sweet and said, a member asked the difference between San Diego versus New York Comic-Con. It's really scope is the difference between the 2 of them. San Diego Comic-Con has always gotten better panels because they're the comic book convention and they're right near Los Angeles. New York Comic-Con is always, it's done better. It's the premier Comic-Con on the East Coast. But, you know, they usually don't have as good movie panels, or if any movie panels, but they have done well in other areas. New York Comic-Con, it's really about going to New York Comic-Con, to be honest with you. So the fact that you can't, I'll be curious to see how that translates. It's the same length, Joseph, as San Diego Comic-Con. They're about the same amount of time. Although all comic book conventions are about that long. Hugo says, will New Mutants open in 2 weeks? Yeah, because remember, Disney doesn't care about it. So they can throw it into theaters, and then as soon as they want, they can put it on Disney+. They can put it on Disney+ a week later. They'll probably give Mulan a little room to breathe, so they'll probably throw New Mutants in theaters, see how Mulan does, and then 2 weeks later be like, how'd you like to watch New Mutants? And I bet you everybody says yes. Would you pay $30 to watch New Mutants to unlock it early on Disney+? And also, how many of you are going to the theater when it opens on the 28th? So you can write theater or Disney+, or none of them. No one here is willing to pay $30 except for Hugo. Oh, it's my pleasure, Luke. Christian would. The Dune trailer is at the end of the month, Lloyd, as I tweeted, and is, what's his name? Oh, I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. Timothy Chalamet said it would happen. Oh, you guys really don't want to spend money on this. Wow, that's interesting. But not very many of you are planning to go to the theater. Oh, Maruna, I feel bad for you. Theaters aren't open in your country and you don't have Disney Plus either. That sucks. Ari said, did you prefer season 1 or season 2 of Dead to Me? I preferred season 1. I had a serious moral dilemma with season 2 and the way it was handled. I thought that they crossed a line. I thought what happened in season 1, was very different than what happened in season 2 in terms of blame. Jico says, what is your favorite Disney princess castle in the film? Oh, it would always be Cinderella's castle. It seems so surreal and almost like it's in the clouds. I think it's really beautiful. Although I do like Sleeping Beauty. I'm a big Sleeping Beauty fan. Hugo says, is HBO Max a flop? Right now it is, but they could turn that sucker around. Never say never. Kyle says, my screenwriting professor said Dead to Me Season 2 was poop. They're getting to Season 3, and I will watch it, even though I had problems with Season 2. Carlos, and I saw Jico also asking what I'm having for dinner. I'm not sure what I'm going to have for dinner. I might have a salami sandwich. I'm not sure. I'm hoping to get a screener, and if it's going to really mess up my weekly schedule if I don't get it today. I'm going to be annoyed. Because tomorrow I watch my trashy reality television. Let's see here. I can't talk about my problems with Season 2's Easter for Dead to Me because then I shall spoil it for people who haven't watched it. Dancing Dog 60 says, Grace, are the Purge films cheap to make? They sure are. I mean, any post-apocalyptic world that takes place kind of right now at night in back alleyways is inexpensive. Also, if Jason Blum's name is on it, it was cheap to make. Yes, James, I'm happy to say that Perry Mason is getting a second season. You know, it was a wildly uneven show, but I really enjoyed it. I really appreciated, I liked the cast, and I thought that the production design was just really it was a nice world to be in. Zachary Smith says, Succession Season 3 to begin filming before Christmas. Hooray! Would you like to see the Roys have to deal with the pandemic in addition to the Season 2 cliffhanger? I trust that creative team to do whatever they think is necessary, so I'm okay with it. Disney says, did Lovecraft Country get better? I don't know. They only gave me half the episode, so I've only seen episodes 1 through 5. Make says, how is Tatiana Maslany and Perry Mason? I thought she did a really nice job. The whole cast was great. Daniel says, Grace, will Lovecraft Country be available on HBO Max the next day after the premiere? No, Daniel, it's available day of. It becomes available as soon as it starts airing on HBO. That's how I watch Perry Mason. I watch Perry Mason on HBO Max. Armando, as for The Conjuring 3, as I've said before, it was pushed to next year and will actually take the first weekend of June. Darren says, Grace, what is your next most anticipated movie to come out? I would say Mulan. I'm very excited to see it not only creatively, but also what it does business-wise and if this works for Disney. See here. Hugo says, when will we get a Cruella trailer? That's a good question. Maybe by the end of the year? Maybe in front of Black Widow? That would work. Dark Savior says, Robert Downey Jr. retired from acting? I don't think he's retired from acting. I think that he's being really careful not to make any more crap. He's had way too many flops. I mean, he just made Dolittle. It just came out in China. I think that, and he also produced Perry Mason, by the way. So I think he's focusing on his producing efforts. You know, he wants to diversify his portfolio, so he always has income coming in. And then I think, you know, I'm sure he's looking for another acting project, and I'm sure he'll be coming back to the MCU sooner rather than later. So he's just fine. Youngie says, when do you think we'll get to see Cheetah properly in a trailer, or did I miss it? Nope, I think it'll be at DC Fandom, or tomorrow, or when the Inception re-release comes out. Oh, that's right, Sean. Robert Downey Jr. also has Sherlock 3 on the horizon, so he's going to be doing that. Czech Film Fantastic says, will Harley Quinn and Doom Patrol be renewed at DC Fandom? I hope so. It might be a little too early for them to be renewed. I wish they would be. I love both those shows so much. I don't know if I would renew. I don't know if either of them will get renewed, to be honest with you. I think it depends on how expensive they are and what kind of traffic they're doing on HBO Max, because they're both on the service now. Who here has watched Harley Quinn, Doom Patrol, or maybe neither, or maybe both. Because I can tell you that from a business perspective, the traffic they drive is so low, it's insane. Oh, so far some both. That's good. Oh, I'm seeing some neither there. Oh, a lot of neithers. Oh, no, here come the neithers. No! No! That sucks. Darn it. Why don't they put HBO Max on the stupid Amazon and the Roku so people can frickin' watch this stuff? God damn it. Maruna says, I'm planning to watch Harley because of your recommendation. Oh, I'm glad to hear it. I think you'll really have a good time. All right, so, 1 minute left. All right, let's see here. Buscemi Boy says they aren't accessible. That really sucks. That's horrible. Juan, I'm afraid I stopped watching Stargirl. Nobody was talking about it, and I only have so many hours in the day. There's so much Netflix content coming up. God bless him. God bless him. Thomas says, what videos am I shooting next? I am going to do a Lovecraft country review, and hopefully I'll be reviewing something else tomorrow as well. Lisa said, did Chris Pratt's baby trend, or is he done? His baby did not trend. I think Chris Pratt still can bring people in. I still enjoy Chris Pratt. But I think as far from being an internet darling, I think that he has a bit of a problem. Oh, Terry, I'm so glad you enjoyed today's stream. Dancing Dog 60 says, what's up with Blockbuster? You know, I was going to cover it today. I was thinking of it. But then it seems that they're only really talking because they've turned the final Blockbuster into a Airbnb, so you can go stay there if you want to. I wish the Blockbuster would come back, but I mean, there's so many streaming services now. What on earth would they air? So I guess they've come back as a single Airbnb. I'm not quite sure why they decided to reactivate their Twitter account for that. But it was exciting. It was exciting. Maybe somebody else could buy the Blockbuster brand. But I mean, everybody's in the space. Everybody's already in the space. There's nobody left to enter. I mean, maybe like Universal. But I mean, here's the thing. Universal, because Peacock is such a bad name, they could go and buy Blockbuster. But they should have something with Universal in the name. Because, you know, you want to have your studio branding. You want people to know what umbrella they're under. I think that's really important. All right, everybody. That's today's stream. Thank you so much for joining me. There are streams this week, tomorrow, and Thursday. And then, of course, there will be a watch-along on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Batman Returns to get ready for DC Fandom the following week. All right. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Bye. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.